Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be doing our wish or skip banner review on the current running Alhaitham and Xiao character banners, along with the Light of Foliar Incision and the Primordial Jade Winged Spear weapon banner. Now before we get super deep into this video, I want to reiterate, as I do with every wish or skip, that wishing on banners is completely up to the player, and if you want a character, go ahead and pull for that character. We use these wish or skip videos as a way to determine whether or not you should be saving your primos for an upcoming banner, or if now is the best time to wish based on the current meta of characters. I will also say for this wish or skip, because we have two new characters in Xiao and Alhaitham on the banner, it's going to be really hard to determine whether or not you should wish or you should skip, because the two characters are still finding their way into the current Genshin Impact meta. But with that being said, let's get right into the video. I want to start this video talking about the Xiao banner, as I've been a Xiao main since his very first ever banner run. Now when we look at the characters that are here to support Xiao, we have Xiao, Yunjin, and Xinyan. Now we don't know how Xiao plays with Xiao as of yet, but we do know how he plays with Xinyan and Yunjin, and it is not the greatest. Xiao benefits a lot more from a strict support through the likes of Bennett or Faruzan, and so the characters on this banner aren't going to be able to support Xiao that much for the DPS that he's going to be able to put out. Therefore, this banner I would give a skip, because although Xiao is still one of the greatest AoE DPS characters in Genshin Impact, he doesn't have good supports on these banners, and we know with the reveal of the Hu Tao and Yelan banners that those strict supports that Xiao needs aren't going to be included on those banners either. I will also say about Xiao, his constellations aren't necessarily the greatest. C1 and C2 work pretty well for him if you want to go that far, but he does have a really bad C4 constellation, in which when his HP falls below 50%, he gains a 100% defense bonus, which is not something you necessarily need to care about on Xiao when you're going to have a shield for him anyways. Now let's talk about Big Daddy Alhaitham, the character that has sent the Genshin community absolutely spiraling across all platforms. Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, everybody is talking about Alhaitham, and I'm going to be talking about him too. We don't know a lot about how a Dendro DPS is going to work in the current meta. We know how Dendro support works, especially through the likes of Nahida, possibly the upcoming Baiju, as well as some of the other Dendro characters like Kale and the Dendro Traveler, but we don't know how a strict Dendro DPS works yet. Alhaitham has a similar playstyle to Keqing through his burst being almost identical along with his E, and he now has supports in Yunjin, Xiao, and Xinyan. I don't think Alhaitham's going to benefit from either one of these 4-star characters all that much. I think the main reason why we have these 4-star characters on the banner is because it is a Lantern Rite, so they are trying to give us Liyue characters around this time of the year, but you could probably find Alhaitham working with something like an Electro support such as Official, or a Hydro support like a Xingqiu, which is going to be on the next banners with Hu Tao and Yelan. Therefore, I would give Alhaitham's banner a wish. I think with him being a new character, him being a new spark into Dendro, I would absolutely wish on this banner. You know, it could be something interesting to build up, something interesting to play with, and I would recommend it for characters who are looking to pull this Academia Daddy. As for Alhaitham's constellations, he feels like a well-rounded character at C0, and the constellations are just slight buffs to him that aren't going to change his entire playstyle at all. I would recommend maybe go C1, C2, but you don't need to go all the way until C6, because I would highly recommend saving your primogems for the upcoming banners of Hu Tao and Yelan. We finally get to talk about the weapon banner, more specifically the 5-star weapons Light of Foliar Incision and the Primordial Jade Winged Spear. Now I will say Primordial Jade Winged Spear is one of Xiao's best in-slot weapons, but it's pretty close on par with the polearm that's going to be on the next banner, the Staff of Homa. And because Primordial Jade Winged Spear can be found on the standard banner, overall I'm not going to recommend this weapon banner to pull on when we're going to have some very, very broken weapon banners coming in soon. As for the Light of Foliar Incision, if you are rolling for Alhaitham, I'd recommend rolling for this sword as well. It is a very, very, very good crit damage stat stick. Of course, we're getting another broken sword, you guys, or another really strong sword. Who would have thought we'd have so many strong swords in Genshin Impact? But yeah, I would recommend pulling for this. It's really good on Alhaitham. It works for a DPS Kazuha, and if you have the character that plays like Alhaitham, Kaching, it works really well on her if you're playing her with a Dendro character, especially that Kaching Nahida comp that started to run rampant once Nahida was released. As for the 4-star weapons, we have Lithic Spear, the Flute, the Rain Slasher, the Wood Sith, and the Sacrificial Bow. Now, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Sacrificial Bow and the Wood Sith at the same time here, as they're almost the best weapon in their respective categories. Sacrificial Bow, of course, giving you that really good energy recharge. You can use it on characters like Farazan, or even upcoming character Yelan. If you're not going to be wishing for her signature bow, this weapon works really well on her. As for the Wood Sith, it is another really strong catalyst that works pretty good on recent characters such as Wanderer and Nahida, especially if you haven't pulled for their weapons either and you do have those characters. This is a good 4-star weapon, but do not wish on this banner for these specific 4-star weapons, because there are 3 not so good weapons that you could end up getting: the Pain Slasher, the Lithic Spear, and the Flute. The Rain Slasher is a weapon that increases damage against enemies affected by Hydra or Electro by 20%. The Claymore character that's on the character banners isn't even a Hydro or Electro character. They're a Pyro character. So having the Rain Slasher on this banner is kind of disappointing, because it's not really something you can use on Xinyan because she's a Pyro character. If you want to chain her for Vape, or if you want to chain her with Electro, cool, but it works much better on a character like Beto or Dory, who already are Electro characters, as opposed to putting it on a Pyro character and relying on elemental reactions. As for the Flute gives you an additional stat of attack percentage. A lot of people nowadays are looking for crit, and so the Flute has kind of fallen off. It works for Kaching, as we mentioned earlier, but if you're going to pull for Light of Foliar Incision for Kaching, you might as well just do that. There's also better swords out there, so you don't really need the Flute. I wouldn't recommend it. It is a decent weapon on Ayato if you didn't get Ayato's signature weapon from the previous banner and you wanted him. But yet again, there's so many 5-star swords out there that are phenomenal in Genshin Impact that the 4-star swords have started to fall short a lot, and they're not really worth it for a lot of the characters. Then we talk about the Lithic Spear. And the Lithic Spear, in my opinion, is one of those weapons that benefits characters from a specific region. In this case, it benefits characters on the party who are from Liyue. And so right now for the Lantern Rite, it's great to have it because a lot of people are going to be running Liyue teams. But in a couple months, this spear is going to be right back out of the meta. Not a lot of people are going to be really caring about it, and so I wouldn't recommend it at the current time unless you're building strict Liyue teams. I know some people like to play teams that are from one specific region, whether that's a Mondstadt team, a Sumeru team, an Inazuma team, or a Liyue team. And if you are one of those players, go ahead and pick yourself up a Lithic Spear. But if you're not one of those players, if you're not using like 2 or more Liyue characters on your team, I wouldn't really recommend putting Lithic Spear on any of your polearm characters, and I would not really recommend putting this on Xiao at all. So with that being said, we have a wish for the Alhaitham banner and skips for both the Xiao banner and the weapon banner. And although these banners fall short, we have some very, very, very good banners coming up with Hu Tao and Yelan, which I will talk a lot more about when we get into the wish or skip video for those banners. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, as we have a goal to reach 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. And let me know in the comment section down below who you're going to be wishing for, if you're going to be wishing for their weapon, if you're going for constellations, how excited you were for these characters. I look forward to talking to you guys all about that down below. And I thank you all so much for watching. So long, everybody.